Rayzr. Hey, welcome back to Sketchin with Rayzr. Today I'm going to be drawing art for the Plucky Squire game that I played over on my gaming channel. It's an interesting game where at first it's like a 2D side-scrolling, sort of platforming game. But then as the time goes on, it transforms into a bit of a 3D adventure game. It sounds weird, but trust me, it actually works very well. The plot essentially follows this adventurer, who is also a writer, named Jot. Yes, you heard that right. His name is Jot, and he's a writer. Because he writes down words, they called him Jot. Hilarious. Anyways, he goes out to stop this evil wizard named Humgrump. Gotta love these names. So he essentially goes out, deals with a whole bunch of goblins that look like these really adorable creatures. Nothing like the regular goblins. But they're short, round, purple, plumpy, and got tiny little horns. Actually makes me feel bad sometimes when you have to go through and beat them up, because like after you take them down, they just explode. Don't know how that works, but yeah. Jot is essentially a cop who's like, "Hey, goblin, I see you over there. I see you jaywalking. I'm gonna give you a slap on the wrist this time, but don't let me catch you doing it again." And Goblin is like, "Okay, I won't do it again." Jot gives him a literal slap on the wrist, and as soon as he does that, the goblin just explodes. It's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Yeah, but after that, you climb up to the wizard's tower and try to take him down. But before you can do that, he pulls out a book about the book that this character, or rather this whole world, is based upon, and essentially breaks the rules of the story and pushes you out of the book. Because the whole premise of this story is that everybody in this entire world, quote-unquote world, is within a book. And somehow, someway, Humgrump found a book about the world that they are in. So the book about a book within a book. And managed to use the knowledge from said book about a book within a book to kick Pluck out of the book. And it's really cool because after he does that, he essentially becomes a 3D character within the real world, quote unquote, and has to find a way to get back. Otherwise, Humgrump is going to change the reality, or rather the nature of the story, just to make it his own. I thought it was pretty clever for having them do that. They go from a 2D aspect to a 3D aspect. And the model actually looks pretty nice. They kind of remind me of a... so he doesn't, like, when he gets out the book, he doesn't grow to, like, a full-size child or anything. Because, he's like a kid. Instead, he grows to the size smaller than that of a regular action figure, which gives off this vibe of Toy Story. In fact, because you're essentially the size of a little toy, the environment that you maneuver around is the desk that the book is laid upon. Later, there will be sections where you have to fight enemies in the real world, and obstacles that you maneuver around are desk supplies, other books, cans, just random, everyday household items, which really gives off Toy Story vibes. Toy Story is probably one of my favorite animated movies ever, so that's definitely a plus for this game. Anyways, at first, the enemies that show up in the quote-unquote real world are bugs. And it's mostly because the writer of the actual book, like the real book of the world, didn't seem to clean up his desk. So now, it's all dirty, dusty, and just filled with gross bugs. Which I cannot stand a dirty desk, which is why I always clear mine out before I do anything. While you're beating up these bugs, you come across a character named Paige. And she is a worm, or rather to me, she is an annoyance. Because the creators of the game seems to have made her as a means to teach the players what to do and when to do it, even if the players themselves should already know what to do and how to do it. Like, it's the game itself is very simple and easy to figure out. So, of course, I would figure things out, only to have her show up and say, "Hey, you got to do this thing that you already know." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, I know. I already figured it out." And it's very annoying. It's almost as though the creators don't trust the players are smart enough to figure out what to do. To be fair, this game somewhat comes across as a game directed to kids. simply because, you know, the art style is colorful, simplistic designs, and have childlike characters with, you know, somewhat childlike jokes and whatnot. But even as a kid, and I play a game that I've never played before, one of the things that I do in the beginning is press buttons. And when I press these buttons, of course, I start figuring out what things do and what things don't do. I have to chalk this up to modern game design, because even games that are not directed to kids will still do stuff like this. Or they would constantly interrupt you and throw in tutorials to how to play the game, even if they already put you in a situation where you can figure out how to play it before the tutorial even comes up. It's very annoying. In fact, I even made several jokes throughout the video on my channel where I sort of roleplayed Paige being annoying to Jot as he's going through that adventure, similar to that of Navi from the Legend of Zelda series. So there's a situation where I have to use an item called a bomb stamp to blow up objects or obstacles in the way. I'd go, okay, I just got to use this to destroy things. In fact, there's even a little description that comes up when you pick up the item, letting you know what it is. From previous interactions with the game, you know, oh, okay, I can use this bomb stamp to blow up obstacles. Almost immediately after picking up the bomb stamp, Paige will show up out of nowhere and say, hey, you can use this bomb stamp to blow up obstacles. And it's like, what? I already know. I literally just came from an area where there were obstacles in the way. So, of course, using my simple problem-solving skills, I know that I need the bomb stamp to blow up those obstacles. It's like, come on, game designers, get it together. Anyways, I really like the puzzles in the game, because while most of them were relatively easy, they were clever and creative. In order to get through certain areas, you can change the text of the story to manipulate the world. An example of this is when I dealt with a big, chunky, lazy cat who demanded I go and bring him his food, like the lazy, chunky bum that he is. But his food is all the way on the other side of the map, and in order to get to the other side, you have to get through these ruins, which essentially act as an obstacle course for you. After getting through the ruins, you get to this giant tub of food, but you can't pull it all the way back because, well, the ruins are blocking the path. In order to unblock the path, you have to go all the way back to the sentence, like an actual worded sentence on the ground saying, here is a secluded ruin. So what you have to do is attack the word ruins and replace it with the word forest. The ruins immediately turn into a forest and give you a new way to bring the food to the fat cat, which is pretty clever. Clever girl. I literally make that joke in the video. There's a lot of stuff like this throughout the game. We have to figure out how to manipulate the text and get through a puzzle. But I think for me, the best puzzles were when you'd have to go in and out of the book in order to manipulate what's on the page. So an example would be areas where you'd have to manipulate the text, similar to how we had to do so in order to feed the cat, but the word that you need to replace isn't on the page at all. Once you figure that out, you'd go, oh, okay, what do I do? You'd leave the book and turn to another page that has that text that you need, so that you can then pull it out of the other page and replace the one within the original page that you needed it. So you go from one page to another, replacing text in and out of the book. It's very clever and very creative. Speaking of clever, the idea for this game is a fun one because there are boss battles where the characters will undergo a transformation in order to combat the boss. For Jot and one of your partners named Thrash, they would get super buff just to deal with the boss. And since this game is full of video game references, I figured why not do a video game reference of my own to Contra and have the two buff dudes of this cast do a Contra pose. What's also funny about that is that I played the most recent Contra game, I believe it was Contra Operation Galuga, on the channel. In terms of the specifics, I wanted to have a mirrored pose between Jot and Thrash, Thrash is the musician of the team, so he dual wields drumsticks, which, now that I think about it, I don't remember him even using the drumsticks to like play the drums. I can't remember. What I do remember him doing is in his boss battles and essentially play a rhythm game of knockback. By knockback, I mean like he would get buff, pull out his 2 drumsticks, and essentially play a rhythm game with the boss. The boss would fire projectiles at him, and to the beat of the song, you have to hit the attack button to knock the projectile back at the enemy, or knock the projectile out of the way, or destroy it. These were one of my favorite sections simply because, or rather mostly because of the music in the background. They would play some interesting rock music. But I figured Jot could just dual wield both his pen-like sword, because, he's a writer, and his bomb stamp. There would be an explosion in the background, and then the 2 other teammates of the squad, which are, I believe, Pip, which is like a tiny, cute, adorable mouse guy who does like stealth missions in his sunglasses and super cool hat. Pip is probably easily my favorite character in this game. Not because of some grandiose character moments or the story related things. It's just, he's super adorable. There's even a section that you play as him, which is my favorite, one of my favorites. Aside from the fact that it was a little bit wonky, you are trying to maneuver around the area and get past the guards in order to help rescue other members of the team. The final character of the team's name is Violet, who is this little purple mage. But my problem with her is that they never gave her a transformation. In fact, I honestly would have been real funny if they also had her get super buff. Especially since she didn't need it for her boss battle. Her boss battle was another video game reference. It was referencing Bubble Blaster. Yeah, it's a really old video game. But it's an interesting name that you can check out. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and head over to the speed paint section of the video. So I will see you guys later. And always remember, keep your mind, body, and soul razor sharp.
You better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. Yeah, make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.